This show tackles some incredibly heavy themes, especially around childhood trauma and emotional isolation. If you are struggling with your mental health, I honestly wouldn't recommend watching this video or the anime itself. It might do more harm than good. Please take care of yourself. There is a kind of hurt that doesn't come with a name. It creeps into your life slowly, in the quiet moments, in the way people stop looking at you the same, in the way your voice starts sounding smaller, even to yourself. And over time, you begin to carry it like it's just part of who you are. So you learn to hide it. You learn to live like nothing is wrong. You still go through the motions. You still smile when you are supposed to. But somewhere beneath all of it, something feels off. Like there is this weight pressing on your chest, and no one even realizes you are struggling to breathe. What's cruel is how normal it starts to feel. How easily you convince yourself that this is just how things are. That maybe you are just too sensitive. That maybe this is what growing up is supposed to feel like. And when things get really bad, you don't even want help. You just want someone to see you, to realize you are hurting without you having to explain it. To just sit with you for a while and not make it feel like you are crazy. That's the kind of feeling Takopi's original scene captures. It doesn't offer solutions, and it doesn't pretend that there is an easy way out. It just holds up a mirror to everything we try so hard to keep buried. And in doing so, it reminds you that maybe the pain you've been carrying isn't your fault. Maybe you are not broken. Maybe you are just overwhelmed in a world that never taught you how to speak about it. At first glance, it seems like a silly, almost wholesome story. For the first 10 minutes, I honestly thought that's what it was going to be. The music was super upbeat, the colors were gorgeous, honestly stunning background art. You could grab a perfect thumbnail from every shot. But even then, I had this weird feeling in my stomach, like something wasn't right. And I think part of that was just knowing the story's reputation for being heavy. A little alien from space, Takopi, crash lands on Earth with one mission: to spread happiness. He's cheerful, clueless, and armed with strange happy gadgets that seem like they could fix anything. And when he meets Shizuka, a quiet, withdrawn girl who never smiles, he makes it his goal to change her life for the better. But it doesn't take long to realize that this isn't that kind of story. Shizuka is living through things no child should ever have to face. Her father is gone, her mother barely shows up, and the kids around her, especially Marina, take out their own pain on her every day. Takopi doesn't understand any of this. He just thinks, if I can make her smile, everything will be okay. But happiness isn't something you can just hand to someone. The more Takopi tries to help, the more messed up things get. Every choice he makes has consequences he doesn't understand. And no matter how much he tries to rewind, fix, or undo the pain, things keep getting worse. And you can't help but wonder, what does kindness even mean in a place that's forgotten how to feel safe? From the moment Takopi meets Shizuka, you can feel the gap between who he is and the world he stepped into. He's a creature of pure optimism, smiling through everything, certain that a gadget, a hug, or just enough persistence can chase away sadness. But every time he tries, he crashes headfirst into a truth he doesn't understand. The story keeps showing you this contrast in ways that are small but heavy, like when Takopi proudly shows off his happy camera, thinking that the photograph will somehow preserve joy forever, not realizing there is nothing to capture but pain. Or the chilling moment when he tells Marina she's training to be like her mom, meaning it as encouragement, completely missing how terrifying that thought really is. Each of these moments land like a quiet gut punch, because Takopi's innocence highlights how broken things already are. That line absolutely wrecked me. I had to pause for a second. It's one of the most brutal lines of the show because he says it so casually, not even realizing how horrific it is. Watching Takopi bounce around with hope in his voice, while the kids around him are drowning in pain, make you want to look away. That's the tension this story thrives on. A soft, cheerful presence clashing with a reality that has no space for that kind of kindness anymore. Even the tone of the anime plays into this discomfort. The pastel colors, the childlike designs, the upbeat little alien. It all feels like you're supposed to be watching a happy story. It sets you up to think you are safe, like maybe things will get fixed. But every time you start to hope, it just gets worse. It's genuinely hard to watch at times. The more Takopi tries to make smiles happen, the more obvious it becomes that they are living in a world where hurt feels normal, where hope feels completely out of place, where happiness feels dangerous to believe in. This is where Takopi's original sin really gets under your skin. Episode 4 especially left me angry more than anything else. It's less shocking visually, but emotionally it's just as brutal. It made me tear up because so many problems could have been solved if these kids and adults knew how to communicate. But they don't, and it's devastating. It makes you sit in this feeling episode after episode, never giving you the relief of a fix. You want Takopi's innocence to win. You want it to mean something. But instead, it just makes the pain around him louder. And if innocence can't survive here, what chance does pain have of ever being heard? One of the hardest parts of Takopi's original sin is realizing there are no villains here. There are no clean lines between good and bad, right and wrong. Every terrible thing that happens, every cruel choice these kids make, comes from a place of hurt they've been carrying way too long for someone their age. And it's brutal to watch because you can't hate them for it. You just wish someone had been there to protect them before it ever got this far. I remember pausing here for a moment, just thinking about how many kids in real life probably feel this exact same way. Take Marina for example. At first, it's easy to see her as the bully, the bad kid. She's loud, mean, constantly tearing Shizuka down in front of everyone. But once you see her home life, you start to understand. She's just echoing what she hears every day from her mom. She's learning that control and cruelty are the only ways to keep yourself from getting hurt. So she passes that pain on, thinking it's normal, thinking it's survival. And you hate what she does, but you can't really hate her. Naoki is a little different. He doesn't lash out the same way Marina does. His story is more about silence, about trying so hard to be loved that you will do anything. His relationship with his mom is this quiet, constant weight on his shoulders. You can see how much he wants her approval, how desperately he wants to feel needed, and how quickly that needs get twisted. It's why he's so easy to manipulate. When you're starving for love, you will grab at even the smallest scraps of it, no matter what it costs you. Watching that hit me hard because it feels so real. That kind of longing doesn't make you weak, it just makes you human. But in Naoki's case, it leaves him trapped in choices he shouldn't have to make. His story stuck with me the most. That desperation to be loved, it's something you don't forget once you see it. I caught myself getting angry, not at him, but at the adults who made him believe he had to earn love like this. And Shizuka, she lies, lashes out. She makes choices that hurt people. But what else can she do? When the adults in your life disappear or treat you like a burden, when every day feels like you are one step away from being abandoned, you grab whatever you can find. These kids don't have that luxury of right or wrong. They are just doing what they can do to make it to the next day. That's what makes this story so heavy. You can't point at one person and say, they are the bad one. The whole world these kids live in is broken. That's what makes this story hurt so much. It doesn't feel like fiction half the time. It feels like something you could overhear in a real classroom. What really got me watching this is how familiar this feels for a lot of people growing up in pain. When you are young and everything around you hurts, you don't think about healing or healthy ways to cope. You just think about getting through it. And if that means copying what you see, even if it's toxic, you do it. You don't know any better. You don't even know there is better. That's what Takopi never understands. He keeps trying to fix things like there is a right choice everyone is missing. And watching that play out is frustrating. It's heartbreaking, because you want to believe there is a way out for them. But the story never lies to you about how complicated it really is. Before we end, I just want to say something. Because I know videos like this don't always find people who are doing okay. If you are here watching this because you needed a distraction, or you just wanted to feel a little less alone for a few minutes, I get it. I've been that person too, sitting there, scrolling through videos, just wanting something to make the day hurt a little less. So if you hear nothing else from me today, hear this. You are not broken, you are not too much, you are not a burden, you're just overwhelmed, and that's not your fault. I can't fix anything for you. But I can tell you this video was made for you. to remind you that what you're feeling is real. And you don't have to carry it all by yourself. If today feels heavy, that's okay. Just take the next breath. That's enough for now. And maybe, like Takopi, all you need today is someone to notice you're here, and I see you.